Hey, how you guys doing? All right, so the guy that I'm running against for county commissioner, his name is Patrick Gotten Off Track Kelly, and the reason why I call him Patrick Gotten Off Track Kelly is because weeks ago, before he voted to raise the property taxes here in Douglas County, the local newspaper here, LJ World, ran an article about these tax increases that were coming, and in that article, they quote the county administrator. Her name is Sarah Plinsky, and she says, when it comes to the financial policies that the commission has tried to do lately, they've gotten off track, and so I call him Patrick Gotten Off Track Kelly because of that. I mean, the commission is severely off track with the budget and with anything related to any financial issues here in the county. But anyway, so Patrick Kelly's the current commissioner, and he's got a website for his campaign, and on that website he lists some of the things that he's accomplished as county commissioner, or that he claims he accomplished as county commissioner. And I want to talk about some of those things here in this video here. And so he's only listed 4 bullet points on there of things that he's done. So he's been in office as county commissioner for 4 years now, and he's only got 4 things on there that he's listed that he's done. And these aren't even like concrete, tangible things that like he could point to, like I lowered taxes, or I reduced homelessness, or anything like that. It's just it's a master class in liberal, postmodern mumbo jumbo, where they say a whole bunch of words and that mean absolutely nothing, and they put them all together, and it's word salad. It's an attempt to sound way smarter and sophisticated than they actually are, and it's also to convey to the reader that not only is Patrick Kelly way smarter and sophisticated than he is, but the reader, the Democrat reader, reads that and says, well, I'm also smarter, way smarter and more sophisticated than I actually am. Like, this is the language we speak on the left, and if you don't understand it, then you ain't as smart as us. It's basically what they try to convey with that. But it's a whole bunch of words, and it don't be nothing. And you see it on the national scene and the political scene as well, with a lot of the Democrat politicians. They get up there and they just talk and talk and talk, and they throw in big words here and newer sounding words here, and put it all together, and it's all just postmodern mumbo jumbo. It don't mean nothing. So here's one of the examples of the things that he's said that he's done, that he's listed on his website. And he says, prioritized supporting vulnerable populations so that every community member can realize a path to opportunity. Yeah, I don't even know what that means, man. If anybody listening to this can translate that for me, I would appreciate it. Just let me know. But I'd say, first of all, good luck trying to translate that, decipher what he's saying there. Prioritized supporting vulnerable populations so that every community member can realize a path to opportunity. I mean, there's so much in there that you need to ask, like, so what does he mean by a vulnerable population? Like, who specifically is he talking about? The reader is just supposed to automatically know which vulnerable populations he's referring to. And what does he even mean by vulnerable? What does that include? And so he's prioritizing supporting vulnerable populations, but also saying so that every community member. So he's focusing on vulnerable populations, but somehow every community member realizes a path to opportunity. It doesn't make any sense at all. And then also, what does he mean by so they can realize a path to opportunity? Realize it? In what way? What does that entail when you realize that there's something in front of you? What exactly did he do for them to realize these paths to opportunity? And what exactly is a path to opportunity? I mean, this just goes on and on. It's like, what is he even talking about? And it ain't just that one. Here's another one of the bullet points here. He says, reframed economic development by honoring individuals and families, including elevating discussions around childhood education, elder care, and housing. So just real quick, a couple of things with the wording here. So things like using the word reframed and elevating, those are left-wing liberal talking points, words. Reframed, I can tell you firsthand, is a word that's used in therapy. You know, I'm a trained marriage and family therapist. I went to K-State. I got my master's in marriage and family therapy there. Reframing is a therapeutic technique. It's also a postmodern therapeutic technique. This word is hijacked from postmodernism, which postmodernism is AIDS to society, man. And so he's taking that word, reframed it. It means that you're just kind of redefining it, or you're in therapy. You know, it's a client is saying, you know, they're presenting it, a situation or a feeling, emotion, a thought, in from their perspective, they're presenting it, and then as a therapist, you hear it and you want to reframe that, maybe spin it in more of a positive or different perspective to give the client a different view on what they just said. You're reframing it, you're shifting it around a little bit. So he's just taking that and saying, hey, I reframed economic development. In what way? In what way did you reframe economic development? What do you even mean by economic development? I mean, just say exactly what you've done with the economy and how you've developed it. Just say that. Just list it out. Like, what have you done? Have you decreased taxes? You know, have you? You know, they're really big into this affordable housing thing. What have you done with that? What kind of dollars are you talking with affordable housing? You know, just give us something of substance there, man. That none of that makes any sense. And anyways, when he's talking about economic development, I mean, he's crushed. I mean, in terms of, he's devastated the housing situation around here in Lawrence with the increased property taxes. It's caused people to not want to live here in Lawrence, not want to work here in Lawrence, in Douglas County in general, and moving out of here because there has been no economic development here. And then it says, reframed economic development by honoring individuals and families. In what way have you honored them there, Patrick Kelly? What does that mean, honored them? And then, so he starts off this bullet point by talking about the economic development, and he's by honoring individuals and families, and including elevating discussions around early childhood education. So you've impacted economic development by what? Increasing discussions around early childhood education? That does not compute. I do not understand how early childhood education discussions, you know, talking about early childhood education has anything to do with economic development here in the county. It makes no sense whatsoever. And then, so you talk about, you know, a missed opportunity and letting everyone know what you've done as commissioner. So if you've reframed economic development by honoring individuals and families around housing, well then, yeah, there you go, Patrick. Then tell us, what have you done to help economic development for individuals and families with housing? Just tell us, man. What exactly did you do? Instead, it's just words, man. It's just meaningless words strung together into a meaningless sentence, into a meaningless bullet point. It means absolutely nothing at all. But the thing about it is, you know, Democrats will read that, and whether they actually understand it or not, they'll just be like, yep, yep, this is good, man, this is good. This is good. It's like that is Democrat language right there. So you just to compare and contrast it with the way I talk, man. When I talk about what I want to do, man, I'm straightforward and I'm concrete, and I'm telling you exactly what I want to do. You know what I'm going to do with taxes, man. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dip into that, you know, $55 million that's sitting there, you know, with $42 million in the county savings account, and about $12.6 million that have accumulated over the years in the 1 cent sales tax. I'm going to dip into that $55 million there and start refunding taxpayers. I'm going to use part of that $55 million to decrease your property taxes. I'm going to propose a hybrid Tabor tax policy where I'm going to cap how much tax revenue the county can collect, and by default that's going to cap how much the county commissioners can spend, which will make the spending much more efficient and effective, a lot less wasteful in their spending. I'm also going to propose refunds if any of that revenue exceeds that cap. All that money will go back to the taxpayers. And then finally, if the county commission wants to request a tax or to go above that cap, that it goes to on the ballot back to the community members, back to the citizens to vote whether or not they want to exceed that cap limit or not. Leave it up to the citizens, the voters, to decide on that. And then I'm also going to propose putting the 1 cent sales tax and the 1/4 cent mental health sales tax back on the ballot for the voters, for the community to decide if they want to eliminate one or both of those taxes, if they want to cap one or both of those taxes, if they want to suspend one or both of those taxes. And then also to if there's anything that exceeds a certain amount of money in there, to refund that money back to the taxpayers. These are concrete things that I am going to do as county commissioner. And if you see, in 4 years from now, when I list what I've done, I will have bullet points of boom, boom, boom. This is what I've done, and you'll read it and you'll know exactly what I've done and exactly where we are. You ain't gonna have no word salad mumbo jumbo like Patrick Kelly here, who's just trying to fool his voters. And I'll tell you what, he is able to fool the Democrat voters, because those Democrat voters just think they're so slick and so clever. It reminds me of in the book Siddhartha. Siddhartha, man, he's going across the countryside and in pursuit of enlightenment, and he comes across the Buddha finally on his journey. And so now he's got his opportunity to meet with Buddha there and just wow and impress the Buddha, and he tries to do that, man. He's just trying to, he's just waxing philosophically, trying to impress the Buddha. And the Buddha just smiles at him, just looks at him and he smiles at him and he says, "You're very clever. Be on guard for too much cleverness."